Good morning, dear Miriam in New Zealand with Molly, and good evening to Margaret and Victor, and to dear Sue here in the UK. And to those not logged in, you are welcome for our live webinar for Christmastide. And if you don't know who this strange man is wearing a frock, it's Brother Sean. So welcome and bless you for giving up your Saturday evening or Saturday morning to come and join us. Let us just be still for a moment as we enter into this new year, a year where the divine has many blessings for the children of God, not those who give lip service to God, but those who are willing to surrender their heart and listen in silence to the voice of the beloved. And it takes a lot of courage, yes it does, to listen to your heart. Because so many of us who try listening to the heart, often the head gets in the way and we start processing, well, what's that saying? And that's when we lose it. We lose the message of simplicity. And I know this from my own experience years ago when I was new to the Pilgrim Pass. I'd always ask, what was that saying? I brought in neuro-linguistic programming, and in the end I realized I wasn't hearing anything at all but my own voice. But today, 2016, is going to be a remarkable year for those who have surrendered their heart and who are willing to listen to their heart and not be governed by dogma or fear of retribution. There's always a price to pay when you surrender your heart to God, because you can meet with indifference from loved ones. But what does it matter? What matters is that you are comfortable in your own skin and that you have God's peace, even though all around you might be falling apart. For that peace is the pearl of great price. And it's not worth sacrificing on the altars of ego. I certainly don't want to lose what I have, because it's taken me best part of 60 years to get where I am today, but that's because I've had a lot of knocks. Oh yes, but the knocks have been positive because they bring you back to your center. Now, I've got a little treat for dear Sister Sue again, and hopefully Miriam, Margaret and Victor. Guess who I'm going to play for you now? I dare you to tell me. Well, anyway, here goes. Moon on a canvas sea, such a beautiful sight, lost on a stardust trail, on a mystical night, wash of a million waves, calling to me. Deep in my soul I can hear the sound of the ocean, far from the noise of man, free from its hold. We took our dreams and ran, we were scattered like gold.
softer than silken feet, through a night like a prayer, taking our hearts to meet the sound of the ocean. Golden moon, silent friend, right along. Just like me, he can see the beauty in your song. Strung like a million pearls, stars in the sky, dance as the seabirds call their lonely lullaby. Heaven is there to touch if your heart is clear. I've come to love so much the sound of the ocean. Secrets as old as time whisper to me. Sometimes the soul can feel what the mind cannot see. Heaven is there to touch if your heart is clear. I've come to love so much the sound of the ocean, the sound of the ocean.
I hope that reawakened your heart to the sound of nature, to the sound of God's love for you, to the sound of your heart beating with love on this night. So now I invite you to be still in the presence of God. I invite you to just be who you are, that beloved of God. Though many may have tried their best to undermine you, as they did me growing up, find who you are. Fall in love with the person you are, because you are replicated by God's love, and there's only one of you. So feel, sense, experience the love of the Creator, who calls you persistently day by day to come and surrender your heart to love, not to rules and regulations that many of us had as young monks, where you couldn't do this for fear of being punished. God is a loving God. And if you want proof of that, the most beautiful parable in the Christian Bible, for me, is the prodigal son. I would read it if you get chance. So now let us just read to you something from Francis. When I find my glasses, here we go. And the theme for this evening is seeing through God's eyes. Know that there are certain very lofty and sublime things in the sight of God that people sometimes think of as worthless and contemptible. There are others that are esteemed and remarkable to people that God considers extremely worthless and contemptible. That's from Saint Francis of Assisi in his second letter to the custodians. But he draws our attention to the Christian gospel, to 1 John chapter 2, verses 15 to 17. And it's about rejecting the values of contemporary society. Do not love the world or the things in the world. The love of the Father, Mother God is not in those who love the world. For all that is in the world, the desire of the flesh, the desire of the eyes, the pride in riches, comes not from the Father, Mother God, but from the world. And the world and its desire are passing away. But those who do the will of God will live forever. And he shares with us a prayer from his heart. Lord, your birth showed that your ways often contradict the typical thinking of this world. Help us value that which you value and to reject that which is contrary to your will, even though the world might tell us otherwise. What are those words saying to you? Have you ever felt, as I do many times? I felt this from being a young boy growing up in Dublin, that I felt a stranger, as if I didn't belong. I didn't connect with the world and its values. I felt I was dropped from another planet. I just never felt a part of the world. In fact, growing up, I felt that I was odd, an oddball. Yeah. But I always felt a little complete within when I came to God in prayer. And sometimes as a young novice in the monastery back in the mid-60s, I used to sneak out of the dormitory. That was a punishment, but I'd never get caught. And I'd always sneak up to the chapel and just sit there in the dark. And all I had was a light from the sanctuary lamp. And I knew that Jesus was there. Sometimes I could stay there for hours. And sometimes I could hear footsteps and thought, I best lie on the floor so nobody sees me. But I always felt I belonged when I was in God's presence, but never felt I belonged, even with my mom and dad. I always felt a stranger, that I was passing through. Let's read another reflection. And this is from Henry J.M. Ewan. And he talks about mental hostility. Fear and hostility are not limited to our encounters with burglars or drug addicts or alcoholics or strangely behaving types. In a world so pervaded by competition, even those who are very close to each other, such as classmates, teammates, colleagues in work, they can become infected by fear and hostility when they experience each other as a threat to their intellectual or professional safety. Many places that are created to bring people closer together and help them form a peaceful community have degenerated into mental battlefields. Students in classrooms, teachers in faculty meetings, staff members in hospitals, and co-workers in projects often find themselves paralyzed by mutual hostility, unable to realize their purpose because of fear, suspicion, and even blatant aggression. And nuns and monks are no exception, because I've got memories where I used to act as a referee in the cloister. Oh yes, absolutely. We're human, but we're divine. But in this world, there is a competitive edge. A lot of people judge you by the grades you have from college or university. They judge you by the clothes you wear. They judge you by your postcode. They judge you by the district where you live in. In fact, they never stop judging you. So how does God see us today? He doesn't see us as a threat. He sees us as a gift of love, like the lotus flower. When God breathes his breath of love, the lotus flower opens. We open to that love when we meet someone who genuinely cares about us, where they have no hidden agenda or they want something. I encountered that a lot when I was a senior charge nurse running a medical unit, an acute unit in Manchester back in the mid-70s. I'd have people coming to me and being very nice and bringing me gifts and chocolates and flowers so I could get their relatives off the waiting list by having a quiet word with the consultants. And when you got them in off the list, I'd never take their gifts because that was bribery. I'd never take their gifts, but we'd get them in and then suddenly they'd drop you from a great height. You'd meet them in Sainsbury's or Tesco's or the supermarket and they'd just walk past you. And people are so fickle, aren't they? Right, well, we've had enough of that. And we just want to come to our heart now. To come and let us be still in the presence of love. If you have a candle handy, light a candle to symbolize the presence of divine love. And if you're wearing shoes or slippers, take them off too. And I'm going to dull the lights a little bit if I can, just to see if we can get into the mood. Just be still now and just sense the peace of God, and allow that peace envelop you. Come back into our monastery garden. Just visualize a safe garden with lots of beautiful flowers and vegetables growing, with various sound symbols in the garden, the sound of running water from the stream and the little waterfall, the twittering of different kinds of birds nestling or nesting in the pyracantha over the front door. We have many birds. And in the distance you can hear Linda, one of the hens, clucking, letting me know that she's laid me her best egg. And by our feet, and by your feet, you've got Poppy and Clemmy, and possibly Molly. And maybe Sister Sue's two little birds will join us as well, Toby and Cheeky. I want you to sit in the garden, and I want you to feel safe, and I want you to feel loved. And I want you to know that you are on sacred ground. sacred ground because of the prayers that go up every day from this small little hamlet and goes right out into the universe for peace. You will see in the trees blank CDs reflecting the rays of Brother Sun, releasing the peace prayer of Francis with a gentle breeze to the four corners of the earth. And as you sit quietly by our little pet cemetery, you'll see a beautiful 4'4" statue of Francis with birds and robins, even squirrels by his feet. And he's nestling in the corner of the rose garden where there's lots of little animals buried there from neighbors. And as you sit there quietly, you are aware of the stillness. You are aware of the peace emanating from the floor of the earth, where Mother Earth is releasing love to you, where the Father, Mother God is breathing the breath of the Spirit of God over you. And as you breathe in, you are breathing in that selfless love. And in your out breath, you are releasing any tension or fear, and you're giving it to Mother Earth so that she can recycle all this negative energy and bring it back to you as positive energy. Feel the tingling around your feet. Just be aware of the tingling around your toes. Mother Earth is releasing her precious love, the love that she shares with the blades of grass and all the beautiful plants in the garden and the trees in the woodland. This is the same energy. It's co-creative. It's infused with love, with divine love. And it's this love that's touching your toes. And it's now being brought right up into your being. And you are aware of this love because everything within you is beginning to relax, and you are releasing worries and fears. Or maybe if you're not releasing worry, you're reclaiming who you are, a beautiful child of God. And just before you comes a little squirrel, a little red squirrel wafting his little tail in front of you, and he's desperate to sit on your knee because he knows that you've got some nuts in a little bag by your side. And this little squirrel finds himself on a little branch directly opposite to you, and he's looking right into your eyes, and he's playing a little game by ferreting his little feet and by winking at you and wagging his tail. But what he's doing is he's saying, welcome into this creative garden, for this is an oasis of love. And he wants you to be happy and to experience the blessing of listening in silence. And you reach down into your little paper bag, and he can see that you're producing one of his little treats, and he almost does a Kaylee dance for you with gratitude. He's so delighted to know that you've acknowledged his presence, whereas many others would dismiss it or use a stick and beat it away. and he reaches out his front paws to receive the nut. But you're generous, and you give him 3 to symbolize your gift of faith, hope, and love. And he smiles at you. And he's a cheeky little chappy because he winks at you. And he scurries off now, and you're hoping that that's the end of that. But you're aware that there is a light, a pure light coming towards you from the cherry tree. It is a beautiful light. It is a healing light with rays of indigo. The colors of the rainbow are coming towards you. There's a gentleness flowing from this beautiful light. And this light stands right in front of you. And it calls you by name to come and embrace this light. And as you stand, suddenly a pair of arms appear through this light. And the touch is gentle and soft, indicating it's a feminine energy. And it is. It's Magdalena. She's come to bring you to the beloved who's waiting for you, who's waiting to touch you with love, God's love. And you go for a little walk around the garden to the rear garden of the monastery, and there's a quiet spot there, and you see a bench under the eucalyptus tree, and there is Jesus, the physician of your soul, arms outstretched, saying, "Come, come, Margaret, come, Victor, come, Miriam, come, Sue, sit next to me." And as you sit between Magdalena and Jesus, the twin flames of divine love, each holding your hand, your feet on the sacred earth, receiving the love of Gaia, Mother Earth. And now you're receiving selfless love that's going right into your body, and it's relaxing all of the nerve fibers and endings, allowing your muscles to relax in your head, around your eyes and your ears and your mouth. You feel the muscles in the nape of your neck that were tense and taut now beginning to relax. Even in your shoulder blades, you feel a relaxation, a gentle warmth of healing energy, and it's now flowing down your spinal column, and you feel totally relaxed. And you are now in the presence of God. Be still and let the healing hands of the Christ touch those areas that need the healing touch of God. And with each in-breath breath you breathe in, you are breathing in the love of creation, the love from the animal kingdom, the love from Brother Sun and Sister Moon, the love of all your loved ones who are in spirit, for they are here and they are around you. And suddenly you feel overwhelmed by God's love. And that love is piercing your heart, affirming that you are a beloved of God, affirming that you are a co-creator of God, and that you are here for a purpose. And that purpose is not so much to be doing for others, but to be allowing yourself receive the precious gifts of God's love, to empower your heart to receive, so that when you do go out to support another, that you are balanced, grounded, protected, secure in the knowledge that you are a beloved of God and that you are protected. Relax now and feel the gentleness of the hand of Christ and the hand of Magdalena, and they do something very special for you. They bring your two hands together and they are enveloped by the hands of Christ and Magdalena like a cocoon or a honeycomb, and your hands are in the center. They feel warm, they feel safe, and they're being re-energized. Sense the tingling in the tips of your fingers. There is a love flowing from the hands of Magdalena and Jesus right in through your fingers, up your elbows, your shoulders, and down into your heart. Into your beautiful heart. A heart that may have been battered and torn by others' cruel remarks, or rejection, or feelings of unworthiness, where you've carried a lot of guilt and low self-esteem. But this love is counterbalancing all that negativity and bringing back to you that spiritual equilibrium where you're now coming into your power as a co-creator of God. And as you breathe in, you say, I am a beloved of God. I was born for this, to sit in the presence of love, to be touched by the hand of God, to be affirmed, to take back my power, God's power, and to make time to be still like now and to listen to that inner voice that does not condemn you. It does not reject you. And it certainly does not make you feel guilty for being human. It affirms that you are a beloved of God. And you open your eyes and you suddenly find that you are alone under the eucalyptus tree, that Mary and Jesus have just disappeared. But there's one here who has not disappeared, and it's the little red squirrel who's brought his family for you to treat. And suddenly you have a family of little red squirrels with mom and dad, with grandparents and children, and they're all playing with your pocket to get to the little treat of nuts. And you are laughing and giggling. Your little child has come out to play, and you have such joy in your heart at seeing creation and the animal kingdom look out for you and look after you. And creation brings us such joy, as does the animal kingdom. And our little squirrel that was one is now several. And they're playing all sorts of silly games, and they want you to play with them. And you feel really safe. You feel loved. And you feel you belong. You belong in this oasis of love. Relax now and just be. Just be the beautiful person that God created. And you may wish to say to yourself, I am loved. I am whole. I am perfection. I am complete in the eyes of God. I am a child of God. I am loved. I am love. Relax now. Relax and reclaim your divinity as a beloved of God. And protect yourself now as we call on Michael the Archangel to put his seal on you and to protect you from those who could do you harm. Feel his blue ray encircle you and protect you. And all is well. And as you take a deep breath now, you begin to come round and you open your eyes. And there you see the remnants of the squirrel family, all the shelves empty with a little paper bag. And you have a little giggle to yourself, knowing that this has been the most amazing experience. Just relax now. Center yourself and feel the love flowing up through your feet from Mother Nature, from Mother Earth. And be aware of the love of Christ still flowing through you. And all is well. And you are well. And now we pray our closing prayer. And the prayer reads, Lord, we look to you as a pioneer and perfecter of our faith. Teach us to follow your example in disregarding the arrows of misfortune and enduring the undeserved hostilities also aimed at us. We know that no suffering of ours can remotely equal the ignominy of death on the cross. Amen. And we're guided now to take responsibility today for one action that you would rather not claim. Wow. So as we finish, let us join hands across the airwaves as an internet family brought together by God, by Francis. And let us feel the love in each other's palm. As I close my hands, I can feel your love. And now I release to you my love. The blessing of heaven, the blessing of earth, the blessing of sea and sky on those we love this day, and on every human family, the gift of heaven, the gift of earth, the gifts of sea and sky, the gifts of brother sun and sister moon, and the gifts from the animal kingdom be in your heart and remain in your heart this day, this night, forevermore. Amen. Namaste, Shalom, Inshallah, Paxet Bonum, OmShanti, Solo di Caritas, Salam Alaikum, and may the peace of your God, whoever your God is, whatever name you give to your God, may your God walk with you. May your God protect you, and that you never feel alienated from the presence of God's love, because you are love. Thank you for being here, and I wish you good night and God bless you. And I pray that you enjoyed being here as much as I have, especially with the little squirrels coming for their goodies. Look forward to seeing you again, but for now, please take care and know you're loved.